Uh, what kind? I don't remember actually what part you played.
On that recording of Mo and Herb's Vacation, it wasn't much. It's just a few little xylophone pieces. But there's another version of it. The way it was originally written was as a solo piece, and for marimba. It was two versions, one for clarinet, and then there was a solo marimba part, which was exactly the same, where you play the entire melody by yourself. And so when you're playing it that way, as though it was similar to Black Page, playing it as a piece, it's many times harder.
It's true that you played that piece on tour with Winnie Colaiuta.
We played it one time.
One time.
Yeah, Arthur Barrow, and we were reading the music, so it's not correct really. I mean, it's they had the stage lights on red and purple, and it was a rock and roll show and trying to read the music for the first or second time, sight reading, So it's kind of right, but there's, it's not really right. I learned the piece afterwards, in life, and we, Chad and I played it a number of times, just drums and marimba.
With his or your band?
It was with neither of our bands. It was actually, play it. Oh, we played it in a clinic that we did, I guess, and then we played it in a clinic, and then we played it in a concert that I put together.
Do you like that piece?
Yeah, I mean, I love it in a certain way, but I can also hear the difficulty in it. You hear the conflict, and so at a certain point, I mean, I used to enjoy that for its not the conflict, but enjoy those tonalities and the rhythm that Frank would get into for its brilliance. But now I can't listen to it because I hear the conflict, and so I love it, but maybe I don't like it. I don't know. I mean, I love Frank, but I don't enjoy to hear that piece.
What's the conflict?
What is the conflict?
Yeah.
It's just built into the music. It's the way the phrases go, and it's the tonalities and the rhythms, and the whole piece is about conflict anyway, because it's written about a conflict Frank was having with his managers and the record company guy, where he found out later on that they had ripped off some money from him, and that he was pissed off, and so he wrote a piece about it. So the conflict is in the piece. You hear the conflict. The piece is about conflict.
You cannot tell it from the name of the piece.
Mo and Herb's Vacation?
Yeah.
Well, unless you know... Do you want something for your arm? I feel like you're...
It's okay, I'm used to
You do it all the time?
Yeah.
I do have microphone stands, actually.
Do you have? Okay.
It's a studio.
Okay.
Studio. It's about his manager, Herb Cohen, and then Mo Austin from Warner Brothers Records, who didn't pay him some royalties, and they went and they took this vacation in Spain or somewhere, and they said in theory they were there doing business for the record, but what they were really doing was having a vacation with girls and this whole thing. And so Frank found out about it later on, and it was one of the things that somehow he brought it up in this lawsuit with Warner Brothers, and then also suing his ex-manager. So that's what the piece is about. So if you were on the inside, so many of the Zappa fans, they know everything. They know more than there is to know. They know more than even exists, and so for them, I think a lot of those people probably know, because Frank would publicize this stuff. He used his music to publicize his legal stuff.
And musically speaking, what that piece is all about.
What is the piece all about?
You can now tell it in detail, and you can tell me all about something about musicological aspect as well.
The feeling.
Technical aspect. Yeah.
The technical.
Yeah.
There's a lot of passages where the notes are going very fast in 30-second note speed, and there's interval jumps of a ninth or an 11th all in a row. You're going up and down, and a lot of things that are from a marimba point of view, almost impossible because you have to be two places at once, operating like four hands, kind of. But the way that I learned to use the piece, or the way that I used to learn the piece, was to just take everything apart very slowly, and you learn one section at a time and gradually put it together. The feeling of it is real. The feeling of it is two ways. There's kind of a in the phrasing of it. There's almost a certain legato feeling in a lot of it, but the pitches and the tonality are all torn apart. There's nothing cohesive. There's none of the strong tonalities that Frank would use in his anthems or anything like that. It's all very disjointed. You can feel the anger in it.
Yeah. One contemporary composer said that it reminds of drawing stuff like recording concerts. What do you think about that statement?
I don't know. I have to think about it, I suppose.
But rhythmically, what the piece is all about?
I don't know the Ebony Concerto well enough to compare. I mean, rhythmically, what it's about is there's two different rhythmic aspects to it. There's the way it looks on paper and the way that you count it out to perform it, and then there's the way it sounds. The way it sounds is just like there's a lot of ornamentation on the phrases, and there's a lot of I don't know what you call it. A lot of the phrases are so dense that you don't hear individual notes anymore. It just becomes a curve or a texture almost. It's almost like Penderecki in a way. It's almost like a single part from a Penderecki piece. I mean, not really, but if you had to compare it to something else, I think if you looked at it, the way it looks on paper it is a lot like Stravinsky. If you look at it on paper, it definitely looks like Stravinsky. It feels like Stravinsky when you're feeling the meters and finding the way to play. The time changes, but still in that piece, there might be time changes of 11/8, 11/16, 5/8, 3/8. It's going like this, but within that 11/16 notes, there's maybe 3 quarter notes. So it's all phrased over the thing anyway. So you're feeling an 11, so you can play 3 over it. And meanwhile, who knows anyway? By the time you're done, it just sounds like the 3. But then in relationship to what happens next, so you never get the feeling of like that it has momentum and like that you can grab onto it and you know where it goes from one place to the next. It has, but it has a beautiful feel to it, and it has actually melodically, it's a Middle Eastern feel. I think it was one of the first pieces that I know of Frank's where he started to really explore that Middle Eastern feeling that he developed later on in his guitar solos and things.
And what seems to put there closer to your heart as that piece came
Yeah.
later on? Or did you play that already?
No, we didn't play that in the 70s. That was no, actually that came in the same time. It was 1981 and 2.
Yeah.
Sinister Footwear. Yeah, it's a nice piece. But all of Frank's stuff, or most of it, I mean, you can, or a lot of the stuff from that period and onward, I hear there's some coldness in it, something that's conflicted, even the beautiful stuff, it's just, it doesn't have the same feeling as some of the earlier music where, the Black Page had a certain kind of strength and resolve to it, harmonically, that brought a kind of a feeling of hope. And these other pieces brought a feeling of hopelessness. You can hear it back there.